Hey, I'm Kati Spaas, and I'm a world-renowned author and speaker on high sensitivity and a retired coach to professional artists and performers. Spotlight Stress is your guide to build confidence, find your superpower, and claim your shine. Today with me, I have Colin as a guest, Colin Egglesfield. He's a Hollywood actor, author, speaker, and entrepreneur, as if that list was not long enough. And we have been working together for a few months now. I've been having a blast working with this guy. And to be honest, one of my favorite movies that he's been in is Something Borrowed with Kate Hudson. I think he's genuinely really an artist who is showing up, telling us a story that you can really relate to. And I know that you've been doing the same with your Inspire work and everything that you're sharing every week with Coffee with Colin. I think it's so beautiful to see how driven you are as a person and how committed you are to your personal growth as well. So, very proudly, I introduce Colin Egglesfield. So, please, Colin, share us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Kathy, and thanks for having me here. Thank you for offering me the opportunity to share with everyone who's going to be watching this my experience, having worked with you over the past few months. As you mentioned, I have been an actor for the past 20 years. I grew up just in this small little town outside of Chicago with no ambitions whatsoever of being on the biggest stages in the world, working with Kate Hudson, Sylvester Stallone, all that, because growing up, I just would rather lock myself in my room and paint and draw and build model airplanes. I guess you could say I was an introvert. I would just get nervous speaking in front of people. So the idea of like being in front of millions of people right now is kind of crazy. And I always just kind of thought that there was something maybe wrong with me or my personality, or that I didn't always like to be around groups of people and crowds. And I just was always kind of aware of my surroundings. And if I felt like I was in an area where there was too much stimulus, I would just kind of get anxious and want to leave. And back then there was no description of really what this was. And so as I grew older and I started to realize that in order to really have the things that I want to have in life, including good relationships and make money and be successful, it's important that you're able to communicate confidently and be able to go out into the world and share with the world who you are and what it is that you want to put out there into the world that will benefit people and obviously allow you to make a living. And I was planning on going to medical school. I was going the traditional route. My dad was a doctor. And I just kind of was like going along the way that everyone else was going, like a herd of sheep. And I randomly heard on the radio one day about this model search thing. And I went to it. I went to the University of Iowa. And one night I went to this they were like, come to the Model Search America. You can travel the world and see all the places that, you've always wanted to go to. And I just thought that was exciting because growing up in the middle of nowhere in cornfields in the middle of the Midwest, I'd see on TV all these amazing pictures of Europe and Australia. And I was like, I want to go there. I want to just see what the world has to offer. And so I went to this model search, and 6 months later, I found myself in Milan, Italy, and Paris and London. And I thought it was super exciting, but I just was like, holy crap, this is amazing. But I realized I don't know much about anything. And so I just started to just become a student of life. And I just wanted to just learn more about how to where I fit in and what it was that I was really truly passionate about. And I found myself in New York City and ended up in an acting class. And that's where I truly found my passion, because it was the first place that I felt like I could safely express my emotions, my feelings. And especially as a man, you're not encouraged to do that. It's, suck it up. You got to be a tough guy. You got to be macho. But I never really felt like I fit in with my athlete friends who were just all like rough and like, that macho mentality of like, I'm going to punch your face in if you look at me wrong. I always felt like I was a little more sensitive. I was like, oh no, don't punch him. Like, you're going to hurt him. It's like, I was like, is there something wrong with me that I feel so sensitive all the time? And when I found myself in this acting class, my acting teachers were like, no, that's great. We need to see how vulnerable you can be. We need to see your authentic, honest expression of what it means to be a human being. And so it was the first place where I was like, okay, maybe this is the place where I finally feel like I belong. And I loved it. But what was the problem was when I would go to the auditions that they started sending me on for TV shows and movies, I would get into these rooms and there was the casting director, the director, the producers. And immediately I felt like I was back in sixth grade and I was standing up in front of my class, starting to get all sweaty, hyperventilating, feeling like I couldn't breathe and feeling like, oh my God, what are they going to think of me? Are they judging me? Am I going to say the words right? Am I going to mess up? And so I would just completely self-sabotage myself. And so I knew that there was something going on mentally, my mindset, that was preventing me from doing what I really truly love to do. And that's where I started going on this journey in my early 20s on what is it that's holding me back? What is it that holds us back in life that prevents us from going out there boldly and bravely and confidently to pursue the things that we really care about? And the more I got into listening to like Tony Robbins and some of these motivational speakers, I heard about the motivation, I heard about, what it takes to have a growth mindset and all this stuff. And there's a lot of great motivational speakers out there, but you are the first person who I've met in this arena that has spoken specifically about what it means to be a high sensitive individual and what it means to feel things deeper and deeply, and how to effectively show up in life without letting it completely overwhelm you. And as an empath, I feel things very deeply. And it's nice to know that someone like yourself understands that and is able to coach specifically to me, and you understand the way in which my physiology is, my mindset is. And over the past few months, what you've really helped me do is become specific about my goals, and then also creating an inspiring vision for myself where it takes into account me being a high sensitive person, a high feeling person, and not ignoring it, but using that to become better at what I'm doing, but also then setting up the healthy boundaries to protect myself from not feeling so overwhelmed about all of this stuff. And you have pushed me out of my comfort zone with regards to, taking my career to the next level. And I think once we reach a certain level of success, we think that those same strategies and things that got us there are going to get us to that next level. And that's where I have been bumping up against, where I've plateaued in my career, you look back at my career, having done all these TV shows and movies, and people would say, wow, you're successful. But at a certain point, we have to keep growing. We have to keep learning new things to help us keep advancing and staying competitive, because the world is constantly changing. And if we don't keep up, we're going to be left behind. And that's just the reality of it all. And having someone like yourself who keeps me accountable every week to be able to show up every Thursday morning. And as much as I feel a resistance to, I got to do the homework, it's all about reframing, and not that I have to do my homework, but I choose to do my homework. because it's choosing to have the career that I want to have. And it's this amazing, empowering framework for me to be able to take everything that I've learned and everything that I have experienced in my life to now take my career to that next level. And it's been amazing because I've just produced my first motivational speaking event with 5 speakers that you spoke at. I'm now producing my own television show. As an entrepreneur, I rehab houses and do some real estate. So I've got a lot of stuff going on, and it's great to have this check-in session with you every week, just to like keep it organized, to keep me grounded. What I really love are the breathing exercises that you've recorded and given to me, because every day those are my saving grace with regards to just getting regrounded with who I am, reconnected to the things that we've created and written together about what are my power statements and that sort of thing, that remind me that the access to what I need is right here anytime I need it. But we get so caught up in our day that we just get so frazzled and freaked out by like, oh, I got to do this, and I got 4 auditions, and then I got to go here, and my contractor didn't show up today, and I got to figure out that. And so it's just been it's been great working with you, just to have that like sense of like accountability and safe space to be able to come in and just be like, blah.
That sounds like
if
fun.
That's a word.
Okay, yeah. I do love helping people to break through the glass ceiling, because every time that we break through the ceiling, it becomes our new floor, and there's a new ceiling. And we always say new level, new devil. And that's just the way it is. We all have blind spots, me too. That's why I make sure that I have someone keeping me accountable as well. And that's just the way it goes. I think whenever you want to grow in life, even if it's on a personal level or in your career, that's the same. It's just it asks of you to reinvent yourself on that higher level. And it has been really fun doing that with you. And I think we're almost halfway the program, and it's so much fun that we're going to be able to still skyrocket even more, because this has been a skyrocket for you. I've been seeing you go like create so much in such a short amount of time, and not just creating those things, but also because what we tend to do as high sensitive people is we have that deeper processing in our brain, making things a lot heavier than they have to be. And then it can get really frustrated, and then it's hard to get things done in a positive and good way. So making those things lighter, like you said, with choosing instead of having to, just making the things lighter is just, that's for me what changes the quality of life. That we can just show up the way we want to feel and do things. We have to do them anyway, but the way we show up and the way we can manage that that dictates your whole day. And that has been just an absolute joy to work on that with you, because you've really taken it on and done the work. And to get back to your story, you've had this incredible success, and we all know that acting can be an extremely demanding but also rewarding industry. So at this point, you've reached this amazing new height, and behind the scenes, things can always cause to give pressure, so then I can imagine that there's a lot of challenges when you are in the public eye, experience all these pressures from your followers, your fans, but also directors, your manager, your agency, everyone is pulling at you. How, I just want to know, we've worked together for a few months. If you look back at the challenges that you had before, when you were in your acting career, and you were thriving, but also struggling inside with the fact that there's so many challenges and so many demands. What do you think of the things that you've learned now would help you do that differently in your next? Because of course, you know, you just keep on going and you're going further than you've ever gone before. So how will you bring that along to the party for your next assignments? What's the advice that you will give yourself now and others, colleagues, for their
Yeah, I would
success?
say, yeah, I would say it's just the daily check-in, the daily meditation, breathing exercises. It's the journaling. It's the, it is just the reminding of and reconnecting to where I really want to be with my life. And again, we get so kind of comfortable with where we are at in life that I realized where I found myself was, well, I've done all this stuff. I've got this resume. I've worked with all these amazing people. And I just naively just thought, well, that's like, they should just be offering me the roles. I mean, but what I realized was when you asked me the question, what was it that I could be doing differently that I'm not doing right now that could move the needle for me to create more empowerment around my career so that I'm not waiting for the casting director and the director and the producers to just watch an audition that I just put myself on for, instead of just waiting for them to be in their office one day. And because casting directors get sent hundreds of auditions, so as actors, we never really know if they really took the time to watch our audition. And so a lot of the times they may just watch the first 10 auditions that they come in and like, oh my God, okay, these three guys, let's test these three guys. And your audition may be 53rd in the line. And so what you got me to become aware of was, how can I make sure that I have the best chance of being viewed and looked at and being considered for these roles? And what came up for me was, well, that's my agent and my manager's job. They should be doing that. That's like, I'm the actor, I put myself on tape, and now it's in their hands and they should do it. And when you brought up the question, I realized that the most successful actors that I've worked with, they don't wait for their agents and their managers to give them answers. They are out there talking to the directors, the producers, the casting directors directly. And this is where, again, I realize I resort back to my old way of being in terms of, well, why would they want to talk to me? And I'm like, oh my God, what am I, 11 again? I'm a successful professional actor. Of course, I've earned the right to reach out to these people and talk to them directly and create relationships with them, which I have started to do again over the past few weeks. And through this whole process of just initiating and reaching out, this is how I've been able to produce this TV show that I'm now working with some top Hollywood producers on, that I've rekindled with. And it's just it's such a more empowering experience to be picking up the phone from an intentional, proactive place, instead of waiting for the phone to ring to be like, oh, they chose another guy for the role. Okay, I'm just going to sit here and wait for the next audition. And so my whole experience of myself is now shifting again into that proactive place of, if you really want to be successful in life, you have to reach out and connect with the people who you know are going to be the ones that are going to be able to make the difference, instead of just sitting and waiting comfortably, expecting other people to do it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I love that advice. And I remember that conversation, and I remember like the light bulb that just went like,
Yeah.
really, that's an option too. That was so beautiful.
I was like, what do you mean? What more could I do? I'm like, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And we get so busy doing the crap that we think, well, we're busy, But is
Yeah.
it really the stuff, the busy stuff? Is it the actual actions that are like going to move the needle in the real direction of where you want it to go? Yeah, my desk is clean and I've called a lot of people and I've finished my emails. So I feel good about myself. Now I can like feel good. But then when I'm frustrated about, okay, well, why am I not where I really want to be? And it's because I'm busy doing the stuff that is just the busy work that can just make us feel like we're doing something, but it's just a distraction from what we really know we need to be doing in order for us to be able to get to where we want to go.
Yeah, and you know what I've noticed in your story here as well is that what you've said is also beautifully packaged the way that we as high sensitive people, and you especially, like you said, you're an introvert or we're an introvert, and I can be very extroverted, but I can also be very introverted. So for me, it's always a little bit juggling between the two. But what we tend to do by nature is do this and put up these walls and hide a little bit because we
Mhm.
never want to take up anyone else's space. But by doing that, we're always putting other people above ourselves and bringing ourselves down subconsciously, and that's having a huge impact on our results as well. And I really loved seeing you move from this way of thinking that we by nature often do as high sensitive people, especially artists, um, and really, first we started creating that vision, but then you started stepping into it, and that meant stepping up, and you really owned that, and that was so powerful. And by doing that, you are taking back your complete power, and that's one of the reasons why I love doing what I love, because not only do you help people thrive more, but you can see them glow from the inside out, and that's just the biggest fun ever for me. And we've been working together now for a few months, on a lot of different areas. Can you tell me what was the biggest takeaway for you, the biggest insight that you would share with others as advice who are also working in the same industry and who would also be experiencing these same challenges and pressures? Is there some advice that you can give that you've drawn out of our collaboration?
Yeah, again, it comes down to the daily journaling, because when I journal and I write out what I'm grateful for and reconnect with what it is that I want, which is to be back. Every actor wants to be back on set, to be working, to be in that creative space. And especially as high sensitives, I think our feelings can really get in the way of us wanting to be able to, or feeling motivated to take the actions necessary. So when anything that I can do to make sure that I've got structure in my life, where even if the feeling creeps up that I don't necessarily want to make this phone call, or I don't want to do this email, or I don't want to sit down to write out this outline for this treatment, for this script, when I put it into my calendar and I have my vision board with the visions of me back on the red carpet, and I'm able to feed my subconscious and feed my the the emotional part of me that gets excited when I am reconnected to the things that really matter to me, then it makes the sitting down to do the actions that I don't necessarily want to be doing, it allows me to actually do it. And so I would say anyone who's feeling like they want to accomplish something, that they, first of all, they need to be working with you, because you keep them, well, you've kept me accountable for reminding me of the things that are going to keep me moving forward and keep growing, because it's so easy to slip back into those old patterns of well, I've just auditioned for the 500th job and I haven't booked anything, so why should I even try? And it's easy for us to slip into these negative thought patterns, and working with you just reminds me of to stay focused and shift my perspective on the things that are the reasons why I love acting and I love performing and I love telling stories. And so I would say that's the piece of advice I would give is don't get stuck in the story that you tell yourself. Don't get stuck in your feelings, your emotions, and just whenever you're feeling in that place, right away, sit down and start writing about what you're grateful for, and just remind yourself of who you authentically truly are, and then you can tap back into that natural energy of going after what you want.
I love that. You've really gotten the message that we've worked on these past few months. So really, really proud of you. And can you just share with us one last thing? What is the thing that excites you the most, that makes your toes tingle and that you're really looking forward to put out there in the world?
To be back on set, to be creating, to be getting back on an airplane and flying to amazing locations all over the world, and being able to work with and collaborate and co-create with amazingly creative people, and just the energy of being on a film set or a TV set. It's incredibly inspiring, and I just love the buzz and the excitement and the possibility that you feel when you step into a set. And I feed off of that energy. I'm excited about it, and I'm so excited that Hollywood and the rest of the world is starting to slowly open up again, because productions are starting to go back. And I'm seeing there's more and more productions being greenlit. So I know it's only a matter of time before I'm back on set doing what I truly love to do.
And we can enjoy watching you telling the stories that we can really relate to. So that is going to be the biggest.
Yes. And the stories that I want to be telling, not just doing projects just to get a paycheck, but it's doing projects that I truly believe in, that I love, and that inspire me.
And I can take your role to the next level, because that's the cool part of your gift as being a high sensitive person, that you can really feel the emotions that your character wants to bring to the story. And there's not a lot of people who can really express that while acting, and that's just one of your biggest gifts. And I'm so convinced that you will bring that to even a further level in the years to come, and I'm excited to see where that will land you and us as viewers, because that's going to be good fun for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to wrap this up by saying a big thank you to you, Colin. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. And if you are an actor, musician, or performer, and this conversation has resonated with you, and you do want to learn more, you can always visit my website. The link is in the bio, and discover the opportunities that there are for you, or even book a conversation with me to see what is possible for working together. Colin, is there something you want to share? Because I know that you're hosting a really cool event this fall. Share, please do.
Yeah. So what's amazing about all of this is that when you just, once again, it's amazing how when you follow your heart, you follow your gut and your instincts, the universe shows up to support you in whatever that is. And whenever I try to do things where I think like, oh, well, I need to go to this Hollywood party because maybe I'll meet a director and they'll put me in their movie. Whenever I start to think too much, that's when nothing ever works. And it's always when I just kind of sit back and look inward. And when I decided that I needed to take a break from Hollywood, because I'd been going full force for 20 years, I moved back to Chicago 2.5 years ago because I knew I needed a break. I knew I needed to reconnect with my roots, reconnect with my family. And once I made that move back, the energy around my world started to shift, where I actually booked an independent film, did a couple of episodes of Chicago Fire, and then I ended up meeting a woman who wanted to help me write a book. And I was like, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, the idea of writing a book is amazing, but I didn't know the first thing about how to do that. And sure enough, she was like, well, I want to help you write this book. So I ended up publishing this book. And then that turned into me going on a book tour, which turned into some motivational speaking, which I absolutely love. And then that turned into my first, what I call my Inspire Summit. And that's where you spoke at a few weeks ago. And this is the thing where if you just step into who you truly know yourself to be, and who I know myself to be is someone who loves to inspire people, someone who wants to make a big impact on the world. And there's many different ways of doing that. And just because you may get discouraged or stopped in one way of doing something, for me, it was there's just a bottleneck with the audition process. I have so many out of work actor friends right now, and they're just like, they're calling me now because they're like, so like, dude, you wrote a book and you're doing these like online courses, and like, tell me more. Like, how do we get into this? And so I was like, well, you know, it's like, all you got to do is just really find what it is that you're passionate about and talk about that, and just get out of the idea that as an actor, you have to be mysterious and that you have to be inaccessible. The world is in a place nowadays where it's all about being authentic. It's being the real you. It's sharing with the world who you truly are. And for the longest time, the messaging that I got in Hollywood was, you got to be mysterious. You got to be like, you know, you got to hide, and you don't say too much or show too much. And with YouTube and the democratization of entertainment, people want to see and connect with real people. And the more that I have gotten out of my comfort zone to share who I really truly am, it is so refreshing to be able to show up on YouTube doing my Coffee with Colin talk show and have authentic, real conversations with people. And so out of all of this, you know, I now have my own talk show, and I'm now being asked to audition for different projects that I would have never been considered for, because I've now just been doing all these different things that are in total alignment with who I truly am. So you can watch my talk show, Coffee with Colin, on YouTube. You can check out my book on Amazon. It's called Agile Artist, and it's called Agile Artist: Life Lessons from Hollywood and Beyond. And it's everything that I've learned over my 20 years experience working in Hollywood, and as a cancer survivor myself, and someone who has lived through the World Trade experience where my apartment got destroyed. These are the life-changing events in our lives that either can make us or break us. And so in my book, I talk about how I took those traumatic experiences in my life, and I used the experience of those events to use that as the fuel for me to go out and go after what I truly wanted to in life. Because when you show up in life filled up and connected to what you really care about, you don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. If you just show up energetically connected to what you love, that is what is attractive. That's what resonates. And that is what is going to make people want to work with you, and people are going to fall in love with you. So stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to have all the answers. Just show up, be the real, authentic you. And I guarantee you the universe will show up and support you along the way.
Yes, that is the most beautiful end message that we could have, think about. Just finish this up. I'm completely lost in words.
You provide the space for all of this to happen, Kathy. So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, because this has been really, really good fun, like always. And we'll wrap this up. So thank you. Guys, if you want to watch the Coffee with Colin that we did together, that's on my website or on Colin's social media platforms. And check that book out, The Agile Artist. That's going to be amazing and so inspirational. And just follow Colin, because you'll see that he has the craziest videos of him running around, jogging, training for his marathon, sweating, and you think, what is this guy doing? And then he's even sharing inspirational stories while you think, oh, I'm tired in his place, so, and he's still talking. So it's really cool. It's good fun. And thank you so much, Colin.
Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate it. And again, anyone who's considering working with Kathy, I would highly, highly recommend it. You can't go wrong. You are incredibly inspirational. You are incredibly supportive. And I can't wait till we can actually meet in person and
Yeah,
cheer some champagne together to all of our successes.
exactly. Okay, see you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Kathy. Bye-bye.